Welcome to the Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, Captain Logan, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, I brought on the Dread Pirate Doug from the Race of Legends and Curse of Legends creator. He is going to be talking all about the difference between competition and esports, whether Sea of Thieves is viable for that type of a thing or not. Plus, we're going to be diving into the Race of Legends, how you can get involved, as well as some information that just came up in the bigger gaming spectrum regarding the recent announcement for the Steam Deck and what Sea of Thieves might be like there. All that and more in this week's episode of Keelhauled Podcast. This week, I want to thank all the patrons who went over to the patreon.com/Keelhauled podcast and signed up to help support this podcast. This week, I am going to be reading out all of the patrons' names in their crews as far as a galleon with their ship names. So, starting off with Bentley Beaver, Chateau Neuf, Chris Horn, and Cosmic Johnson in the Revenge Tide. Then we have El Jefe Esteban, Trickster, Jabaro5, and Kazia the Rogue in the Happy Sailor Galleon. Then Lumpy SRQ, Dub Goose, Evil Morpheus, and Xbox Mike are all riding on the dead bones. Then we have Munchie, Papa Fuzz, Registella, and Rust Belt Kid on the Drunken James. Next, we've got TN Professor, Big Bad Pad, Mina Fairy, and CJ Super Pack all riding on the Sea Ghost. And then Davram TV, Fergatron, Straw Hat Connor, and Tech Deku are all riding on the Tainted Rose. Then we've got Windsor Chris and Zamwow. They are all hanging out on the Stinkin' Skull sloop. So thank you all. You're just the absolute best. I love you so much, and thank you for supporting. This week, I have none other than the Dread Pirate Doug joining me. If you're not familiar with Doug, he is probably the best competitive esports kind of person. Like if you could take Race of Legends and consider it a sport, because I think it is a sport. It takes a lot of skill to be able to do this stuff. It's like a triathlon in Sea of Thieves. Then he would be probably the person that I go to watch that kind of content, because in Sea of Thieves we don't really have a whole lot of organization. It's pretty chaotic in Sea of Thieves, and he brings order to chaos. So
I tried.
Doug, welcome to the podcast again. It's been about a year.
Wow, really? Wow, a year?
Yeah, last time we chatted was I think June of 2020.
Wow, that went fast.
It really did. It's almost like we went inside and didn't come out for a year, and we just kind of forgot what happened. Like that. So welcome back. It's good to have you.
Great to be back.
We've got some fun topics this week that I wanted to dive into. But before we jump into that, we've got a lot of new pirates, both from last year when people were jumping on from Steam, but also people that are jumping in for Pirates Life, Tall Tales with Pirates of the Caribbean. Who is Dread Pirate Doug, and what do you do?
So I'm the creator and commissioner of the Race of Legends, which is a cooperative obstacle course competitive event set in Sea of Thieves. We are going to be celebrating our 3rd anniversary in November. We've had over 500 pirates compete. In November, we will also be celebrating our 100th Sea of Thieves event. The details, registration and stuff, if you go to raceoflegends.com, you can kind of get, detailed rules and the current route video, stuff like that. But yeah, we have had a slightly different course to varying degrees. Each of our 7 seasons, we're about to kick off season 7. It's been a wild ride. It's been a lot of fun. It is a really exciting competitive event. What we did is we took the whole Sea of Thieves experience and we compacted it into about a 15-minute race between 2 crews. We've done galleons, brigs, sloops. We've done 3 sloops racing against each other. We've done 2 sloops versus 2 sloops. One time we raced 3 galleons and tried to get all 3 of them out of Smuggler's Bay at the same time. That was a bad idea. It was fun to watch, but it was a bad idea. We've done rowboat races. And then we've done some ancillary events as well. We did King of the Grill, which is really cool. Mike, one of our legendary first mates and a deckhand, he came up with King of the Grill, which was a it was on Golden Sands. We did Sanctuary. It was on Sanctuary as a PvP, land-based, just combat, pretty much a King of the Hill type thing. And then we have better known is the Curse of Legends, which we've had a lot of fun with over the years. And that's basically like a zombie style kind of infection mode that's server wide. 5 ships, one of them is infected. Start out the round. If your ship sinks or if you die, you come back infected, you join the other team. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's a really cool. It's a nice way to kind of change up, because everything has to be on the honor system, because you can't actually change your livery sets mid thing. You can't really do anything that really says like, I am now infected. It's totally up to the players and
we haven't put their Reapers up. But it's challenging. There's some mechanics we can use, but it's challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. The Reapers is probably the best way to actually do that. And funny enough, the one reason why Reapers is the most exciting for people.
Yeah, that's honestly the Reaper's flag specifically. The only real use for it is luring in crews who are going to think you're a total noob because you're flying it, or B, using it as a mechanic in a competitive event. I hope they don't take it away though. We need it actually.
Yeah.
Well, in there, please.
They really don't remove stuff from Sea of Thieves, so I think you're safe.
I think you're right.
So you've got, the reason you're jumping on is because you've actually got some Race of Legends and some Curse of Legends coming up. So when is Race of Legends actually kicking up, and what's the process for people getting into it now?
So if you're listening to this the week that it comes out, the season 7 premiere is on Saturday, July 24th at 4 p.m. Eastern. We will be streaming it live. Actually, I haven't announced this anywhere else yet. We'll talk about this on Twitter later, but this season we're actually going to be streaming to Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, and we may add some other platforms in as well. I wanted to stream to Mixer, but they haven't been calling me back. I don't know why.
That's weird.
Still trying to get in touch with those guys. Yeah, it's the strangest thing.
Have you checked in with Facebook? Maybe you have to go through Facebook now. Zuckerberg streams a lot on Mixer. Maybe hit him up.
Yeah, well, we won't be on Facebook because you can't simul stream to Facebook, and we'll let you. But yeah, I'll give Zuckerberg a call. He should know the right person to get me in touch with. Yeah. Or I'll just call Phil Spencer on his personal cell phone at home.
If you do, remind him he still has my copy of Borderlands that I need back.
Oh, okay. I'll definitely let him know.
Thank you.
I'm sure he'll get right on that.
I just need the disc back. I have to authenticate. I haven't played it in a while. That, and he's keeping my copy of Anthem. I'm totally fine with that for now.
Yeah, you can have that one.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't see it on the back shelf when he's doing interviews, but if you look really closely, like behind the skull statue, there's a copy of Anthem. That's mine.
That's what's back there.
Yeah.
It might be a load bearing game that's holding up some other stuff. I don't know.
It could be. I'm really excited for people to find out about Anthem 2. They're going to be so excited. They've done so much work to make it feel more like Mass Effect. So,
interesting.
Andromeda, not the trilogy.
Okay. Oh no. All right.
So,
well, that'll be interesting. Yeah.
Race of Legends, it's kicking back up. You're excited. Yeah. I'm excited. I always love watching these. It starts on the 24th of July. If people want to get a hold of it, just head over to raceoflegends.com. The links are going to be in the show notes. There's a tab for registering your crew. This one is going to be with I almost said everything except for the Brigantine. But this one's going to be with the Brigantines, right?
Yeah, we're going to be sticking with Brigs this season. So crews of 3. The format is going to be each week 2 crews are going to go in a best of 5, best 3 out of 5 tournament. And then, the first crew to win 3 races wins that week and then qualifies for our 3rd anniversary tournament in probably November.
Okay.
Still nailing all that down, but it'll be mid-October, late November when we do our next tournament. Winner of that tournament will become our 6th grand champion crew.
That's pretty awesome because
that is a rare title.
Yeah, there's only a few people. Have you guys gotten sales for this yet? Like NAL and
not now that you mention
Champions, they all get these.
It's interesting.
Sales.
Yeah, they did get sales and we didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that. That's weird. Someone should look into that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it
That's
would
a
be
whole
great.
other thing.
I'm just saying, like, you guys have been around a long time. You do legitimate competitions. It's way more inventive than how many people can get slaughtered and yeah, sink ships. I think it's way better. I did have a question though, because you've been
Yeah.
doing Race of Legends forever. You've always stuck to the premise of having same size or same ship types together. When is Race of Legends ever going to consider pitting really good sloop crews against really good galleon crews and really good brig crews?
Ooh, in a race. That would be interesting. We've thought about letting crews choose. We felt like so much of it would just come down to the RNG of the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you are going directly into the wind, and that's just how the course works. I mean, because sometimes, as we all know, you can sail in 5 different directions and somehow still be going directly into the wind, because it shifts as you turn. So, you get a race like that, and the galleon doesn't have a chance. The sloop is going to wreck them. But that would be fun. I really enjoyed the 2 sloops versus 2 sloops that we did one time. That was a lot of fun. I felt like there was a lot of potential there for different strategies and things, but it is pretty complicated to set that up, handling 4 different ships. But it was fun. It was Definitely. A lot of fun.
So the main idea is that you're trying to reduce the number of factors that could impact the actual game, not unlike esports. So, but you guys are strictly competitive. So I'm curious, what is the difference between you building a system or a race that is trying to limit the factors of the RNG for your competition versus what a lot of esports try to do when they are trying to have a very set world where the playing field is as even as possible? Right.
I feel like in the main difference between a competitive event like what the Race of Legends is and what I would, some of this is just semantics with terms, but what I would consider an esport is esports as a rule, and I'm sure there's an exception out there somewhere, but esports as a rule are very controlled environments, right? Just competitive environments in general. I mean, you don't watch a basketball game and, occasionally a piece of the floor falls away or, the court changes shape halfway through, although that does sound really entertaining.
Oh, man.
Now that I mention it. But, all the basketball courts are the same size. All the football fields are the same size. The goalposts, the hockey, we just take that for granted in regular sports that all the playing environments are the same. There's a regulation hoop. There's a regulation distance for the foul line and 3-point line, etc. Mm-hmm. But in Sea of Thieves, you can set up as many rules as you want. And one of the many challenges of running a competitive event in Sea of Thieves is keeping the rules to a reasonable length. Mm-hmm. And you can see the rules when you go to the Race of Legends, but it's not an exhaustive list of all the rules. A lot of times crews will have questions, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? That's normal. If I wrote out every single answer to every single question anyone had ever had, it'd be 15 pages, but our rules pretty much fit on one printed page, single space, but they'll fit there on one printed page pretty much. Mm-hmm. So keeping things simple is important, but you create rules to try and add structure to Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves specifically is, of course, one of the most flexible open world games ever created. It's amazing. It's amazing that you can load in as a day one pirate and go anywhere and do anything. There's no gates for DLCs. There's no areas you have to unlock. It's awesome. But the way that Sea of Thieves stays interesting is by adding chaos. I mean, we all know that, sometimes you jump on, you're like, I'm going to run a gold hoarder mission, get my emissary up to 5, do the emissary mission, sell everything, call it a day. And every once in a while you plan to do that and it actually works. But most of the time something else happens. People come and attack you. You get attacked by a Meg or the Kraken or a skeleton ship or the storm, or you get distracted by an event or a world event or an emergent event, whatever. That's what makes Sea of Thieves awesome, is that you have a plan, but you don't really know what's going to go happen. You just got to go out there and see what Sea of Thieves throws at you that day, and you never know. And it's great, but when you're trying to create an organized, structured event, you're working against all of those mechanics that they've worked so hard to add into the game. So all of these emergent threats are just a problem.
How do you do that, especially with patch notes that come out that say the Kraken's going to be more random during in between world events now.
Yeah. Well, we try to only start races when we have a world event up, but we only have to forget once and we immediately get Kraken because there are no other ships on the server.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we have to roll with the punches. We have to, you know, mechanics and weapons that are added. We do have to add new rules and policies for, well, how do we use the harpoon, blunder bombs, fire bombs, all those things that have been added since we started the races, which was just after Cursed Seas. So we've had cursed cannonballs the whole time. So yeah, go ahead.
I was just, you're making me wonder now. So like PvP is limited to swords only on the course. Harpoons may only be used. Yeah. So harpoons may only be used for environments only. Cursed cannonballs, fire bombs, blunder bombs from any source may be used against enemy ships. No regular cannonballs or chain shots may be used against competing ships. So with this, it's you're trying to narrow it down to just the ability to navigate the obstacle course and the racing aspect of it purely, correct?
Yes and no.
Okay.
We limited the PvP. This is actually the first season we've ever limited the PvP to just swords. We, especially at Mutineer Rock, so at Mutineer Rock and we've actually used this obstacle on the season 2 course, the season 6 course, and now in season 7. And you have to so you have to, whichever direction you're coming from, you have to drop a rowboat at one side of Mutineer Rock. The rowboat has to row through the middle of the island, and then you have to reattach it to your ship on the other side before continuing the race. And the rowboat driver specifically is incredibly helpless to the eye of reach, or the pistol for that matter. Yeah. They're just incredibly easy to shoot. Rowboats don't move that fast. So we've tried to use the limiting it to swords to keep Mutineer Rock from being a place where crews get really bogged down with PvP in a slugfest. And we want the race to just kind of keep moving. It's really just about keeping the race moving and keeping the action moving. But we've always had PvP as part of every single one of our courses. Even going back to the season 1 course, there were only 2 obstacles, and one of them was you had to go to Golden Sands and drink an entire tankard of grog in the tavern. That was all you had to do. Your crew could do it one at a time or all together. You could ghost ride your ship towards the next obstacle, whatever you want to do. But we had some great battles getting control of the tavern, because generally speaking, when you on a Race of Legends course, when you see the other crew off their ship, you can kill them. So same thing at the outpost. We have the first obstacle on this season's course. You go from Devil's Ridge up to Plunder, and at Plunder you have to raise your Athena's emissary flag, which again is very simple, but you do have to get into the tavern and be able to stay alive long enough for for you to put your vote down. Yeah. And of course only 2 of your crew members have to do that. So we've always had a PvP portion, and that's because PvP is part of Sea of Thieves. And what we're really trying to do is find the best crews in Sea of Thieves. Who are the actual best crews at the game of Sea of Thieves? Who are the crews that you don't want to run into when you're sailing around if they're hostile? You know what I mean? That was always the goal, was to condense the whole Sea of Thieves experience down, which is a tall order. But I'm really excited about what we've been able to accomplish. You have to cooperate with your crew. You have to communicate with your crew. You have to have a plan, but then also be able to adjust to what your competitor is doing. And we've seen some amazing plays over the years. Crews that harpoon a Meg to get a speed boost. The rules are structured in such a way that crews have a lot of flexibility in terms of strategy. And sometimes crews will ask me like, hey, can we do this or whatever? But for the most part, if it's not in the rules that you can't do it, you can do it as a general rule, at least the first time, until I add it to the rules for the next race, because it was something we never thought of, which there is a lot of, because again, just because of the flexible nature of Sea of Thieves. But it's a whole process of refining the rules, but we really wanted to condense, like I said, that whole experience down. PvP is part of it. Shooting your cannons is part of it. Season 4, we had an obstacle where you had to knock down a mast on a galleon that was parked with your chain shot before moving to the next obstacle, which, of course, for a lot of crews, they would just spam a few chain shot and hit it. But boy, if you messed up on that first obstacle, it was really difficult to catch up.
Yeah. So you've tried to craft this world where you're still taking advantage of the nature of Sea of Thieves in its holistic approach, where you can have PvE, but PvE tries to blend in really well. You recently, back in May, put out quite a thread to dive into the difference between esports versus competitive events. And the reason I bring this up ties into what I think is an interesting shift that will eventually happen. Arena is no longer being developed. They're focusing purely on adventure. Arena is still there, though the lobbies are getting harder to fill. People are not playing it as often. Once you hit your Arena legendary Sea Dog, most people probably dip out of Arena unless it's something they like to do for the sake of the team deathmatch approach. And I'm curious, like, where do you see Arena going in the next year? Like, do you see them coming back to it at all? Do you see it going away? Like, where do you think Arena is going to end up in a year?
My understanding is that Rare's approach is going to be, we're not really going to be focusing on Arena going forward. We're going to be focusing resources instead on custom servers so that people can create their own competitions, which is obviously very exciting to me. I played a lot of Arena. I maxed my Sea Dog rank up, I don't even know how long ago, a while ago. And I played plenty of Arena. I had a lot of fun for the most part. I thought that the new Arena was, for the most part, a good idea. But I think that there were a few key things with how the scoring worked, especially with cannonballs, stuff like that didn't quite work. Because you really incentivized crews more to just land cannon shots on the mid deck of a galleon than it did to actually fight over the chest, which is really what's a lot of fun in that mode. Arena has I think it has its place. I think that they put enough resources into developing it that they might as well keep it there. It's one more thing for people to do in the game. And, sometimes you don't want to sit down and do a 3.5 hour session. You want to just sit down and play for 20 minutes. I get that. But as a competitive esport, we did the Battle of Legends, a year and a half ago. And we did it 3 or 4 times. It was a lot of fun. We tried some team deathmatch stuff with the combat for like final rounds, and it was okay. I think that there's a couple things with Arena. First of all, it's just not very popular.
Yeah,
it's the thing.
Well,
there's not that many people play it.
They tried to actually do the different. I can't think of what it was, but they tried to actually have these events happen like out in different conventions and stuff. They tried to get people together. They tried to actually have different tournaments going on where they'd have crews come together, and they tried to have things where you could actually do organized esports with Arena. And
I competed in the Battle for Orlando.
Yeah. So like, do you think, like, given if Rare was actually to approach it, they could prove that you could actually do it, but it was always done like over a weekend, and it was always done at a convention. And it was almost exclusively streamers and content creators. I mean, you could show up and sign up technically at the event, but most of the crews for most of these events have been, invited. Yeah. So
the vast majority,
the likelihood of them doing this as something where it's more like open bracket, do you think that would be open registration, open bracket, where you could have people come in and get into a point system like how other companies actually do their esports? Like, is that even feasible with them?
I mean, if there were a ranking system in something like Arena, and you were to say, if your team gets to this elite level, like the equivalent of like a Champions League in Rocket League, or Radiant in Valorant. Radiant, I think, is their highest one. Whatever. If you get to this elite level, then you have the ability to apply for these, official Sea of Thieves tournaments that are going on. Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. They could, work with a bunch of different community organizations and like affiliate alliance types to run satellite events, and take the winners from those events and put them into one very competitive event. The NAL has like a whole ton of qualifiers that they do, and different divisions and stuff, and they do a lot of events. And, that's all great. It makes sense to group people geographically for ping reasons as well. But I just Sea of Thieves was not built from the ground up to be an esport. And most of the competitive games that are very successful had at least somewhat an esport in mind. Even like, things like even like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, League of Legends, CSGO. I mean, you can list as many as you want, but
let's take this from I want to take a step back and kind of dive into what you mean by that. Like, Sea of Thieves was designed with PvP in mind, but not competition in mind.
Right.
So what are some, like, taking for example, like Fortnite is probably the easiest example of another game that is open world with different environmental things going on. People can do whatever they want, but the goal is to compete to get to the end so that you can actually win the matching and finish the battle royale. So like with Sea of Thieves, where, like, with custom servers, I mean, how hard would it be for them to change custom servers so that there is a way to really kind of relegate that? So you mentioned in your tweet thread that even with Sea of Thieves having the ability to toggle on and off different things, that it still wouldn't be set up for competition. So what do you mean? Like, what does Sea of Thieves have to do to get to a point where you would consider it viable for an esport versus just being competitive?
I mean, I mean, obviously, yeah, like you said, an important first step would be being able to easily toggle on and off all environmental threats, being able to control the storm or toggle that on and off, Kraken, everything. Even active forts have been an issue for us on occasion. You'd have to be able to toggle all that stuff. And I don't even know if Rare's like even looking that direction or if that's something that's planned. I have no idea. If it's going to happen, I would assume it's not going to be in the near future. But like, let's say that happened. You're still going to come back to the issue of hit registration, which is just the most exhausting topic to talk about. But you're shooting between two moving platforms that are going up and down dynamically based on the size of waves that change based on the wind and the part of the world you're in and the weather that day, all those different things. Like, it's just, you don't do that in Call of Duty. You don't do that in Valorant. You're not shooting between two moving platforms that are, totally unpredictable in how they move. Sometimes they're both turning and moving in, different directions. Those games also, I should probably point out, I mean, play some Valorant or some Call of Duty. You'll have hit registration issues sometimes. You don't want to be that guy that blames every kill on hit registration, but like, it happens. I played a little PUBG this week. Hit registration issues happen.
I love that the world has moved from back in my day, you lagged and you chalked it up to your ISP. Now that ISPs aren't as big of an issue, now it's the game code that's broken. I hit my shot. Sure. The game didn't recognize it. Right. Which,
I mean, the reality of hit reg in any game, by the way, is that it probably helps you about as often as it hurts you because it's completely random. Yeah. And you're never really going to know when you shouldn't have hit someone, but you did. That's never going to log in your mind. You could have 15 fights. The only one you're going to remember is when you got that hit marker with the Eye of Reach twice, and that guy didn't eat any fruit and he didn't die. I get it. It happens to me too. It's frustrating. But Sea of Thieves wasn't built I mean, you look at, again, Call of Duty, PUBG, these games were built for hit registration. Like, that's their whole thing, is shooting each other. That's all they have. That's the only mechanic in the game, is shooting each other and picking stuff up. And even they struggle because everyone's ISP is different. People are physically different distances from the server that they're playing on. Sometimes you're playing with a friend of yours in Europe and one in Australia. My God, what a technical challenge. It's kind of amazing that we can play together at all when you think about it.
Oh, it really is.
Those games were built from the ground up. Now, if they ever make Sea of Thieves 2, which maybe we could do a whole episode. I'd love to talk about Sea of Thieves 2. But if they ever make a Sea of Thieves 2 and a part of, they look at Sea of Thieves 1, as we would start calling it, and they're like, well, one of the things we really want to nail is we want hit registration to just be perfect every time, and that's going to be one of the things that we really focus on, building it from the ground up. And we want to make this a platform for competitive events, so we're going to build our servers in such a way that you can turn off all these different threats or turn them up. Boy, you could have a lot of fun with PvE events where you turn skeleton ships spawning up to 1,000 and give a bunch of crews things they have to go do with swarms of skelly ships around them. You can have so much fun with stuff like that. But until that happens, I have a hard time seeing anything that happens in Sea of Thieves adventure mode, especially, being structured enough to really be an esport. And that's why the Race of Legends, we do have prizes. We have custom made trophies that Fox Die made that are awesome, that we've done a couple of times now. We've had some cursed cannonballs from Nerd Propellant that we gave away as prizes. We had some plushy ghost megs that we gave away for season 3 or 4.
It's an anti-princess though, right?
Yes, hers are amazing. You should all look her up on Twitter. She makes really cool stuff.
I had to shout her out because you threw out Fox Die and Nerd Propellant, and it would be remiss.
I'm glad she would have been mad.
Yeah,
we're friends. She's awesome. I should have said that. Thank you. You saved my butt on that one. To try and I wanted to kind of pull us back in. So we're talking competitive versus esports, with Sea of Thieves having to basically tear down the code and rebuild it with hit registration in mind. Do you think that that's something, because right now a lot of games that do that typically keep regions locked. You're usually playing with regions that are based in the same area that you're located, and you're playing with players from that area. I feel like that would have to happen if we wanted to have reliable hit registration, and that is really, it's really deterrent to the heart and soul, I think, of Sea of Thieves. I think that you run into the same problem you do with World of Warcraft and having servers based in different locations, right? But wanting to play with multiple friends across multiple servers in different regions and not getting to, because you do have to worry about, when you're clicking a button, it has to register on the thing that you're clicking, and it's not hit scan. It has to actually go and be a projectile. Right. So I wonder if this is a problem where a lot of folks are wanting the game to be fixed, but they aren't thinking about the multitude of factors that really do kind of chip away at the well, we could, but scenario that happens with trying to make a game more viable for esports. Right. And I think like you're right at the core of it, which is people want Sea of Thieves to be X, and this has been an issue literally since the day the day it came out. When Sea of Thieves came out, they wanted it to, but people had this in their mind, and that wasn't what they got. So a whole bunch of people were disappointed or didn't understand what they were doing well enough to leave the outpost. Whatever. Sea of Thieves, right? And like, there's plenty of people, and some of them are awesome. That to them, Sea of Thieves is a PvP platform, and that's cool. Like, if you want to go out and hunt ships and that's all you do, like, that's totally fine. Play the game however you want, but the game at its core is not a PvP game. The game at its core is not a PvE game either. Just to be clear, the game at its core is both combined into this beautiful symphony of a pirate adventure. And if you log into Sea of Thieves and you're like, I'm going to go on a pirate adventure, Sea of Thieves is going to deliver on that promise every single time. You want to go on an adventure and have fun and have chaos and, feel all the things on their different, that wheel of emotions that they have. That is awesome. Like, that's what's going to happen. If you go out and you want something specific from Sea of Thieves, like, well, I want a TDM platform. TDM games do not have 3 guns and a sword and 2 different kinds of throwables. It just doesn't. That's not how. I mean, like, I would not play. Nobody be playing Modern Warfare if they had 3 guns and a melee weapon in there. Like, it gets old fast.
I will say,
for me anyway,
Halo is probably a good example of TDM, where you do have a range of weapons. You can have weapons and vehicles. There's ways to go about it, but I think you much in the way that Halo has a campaign mode and a multiplayer mode. The multiplayer mode is separate and balanced for that, whereas the campaign mode is linear. What we've got here is a mashing of the two, and neither of them are. I hate saying it like this, but Sea of Thieves excels at having the joint of both, but it doesn't do the best job of one or the other. It's not going to be the best game for multiplayer competitive esports. It's not going to be the best for telling a campaign story, because you're always at the risk of something happening to interrupt that story. So in the sense that if you were looking at the game at its design, where it's a shared world adventure game, then it makes complete sense. It works out perfectly. But if you were to do it the way you would want for like a competitive esport, it would have to be arena is now the main focus, and they're going to build out the different modes, and they're going to have toggleable features. There's going to be a whole loadout that you would see all of the crews loading into the lobby before they even get into the actual lobby. And I think that's the difference is, there's so much emphasis on keeping the game part of the experience, as opposed to, all right, we're going to play arena, and we're waiting for people to load into the lobby, and we're just watching names fill out spots on a list. And all of the options in there are listed before you even jump into that. Whereas in Sea Thieves, you go to an actual lobby, you actually go change your equipment, your costumes, you play around with the environment. You're just waiting for people to pop into the actual tavern. And I think that there would have to be some big changes to Sea of Thieves for it to get to the point where arena could be viable as an esport, as opposed to just a fun thing to do. Ahoy there, pirates. This is the ad for this episode, and I did want to let you know, if you wanted to avoid these and just get a regular filler, you can head over to the Patreon. There's a special feed just for patrons that get the ad-free version. If you want to keep listening, though, I can't say I blame you, because this week I want to let you know about Loot Crate and getting 15% off of most crates and crate subscriptions when you use the link and code RobotsRadio in the show notes. Also, you can head over to audiobooks.com, get your first 3 audiobooks for free, and that can include any 2 VIP books, or use the affiliate link for Green Man Gaming. If you're a PC gamer or you'd like to save money on games, it's one of the benefits of being a PC gamer. Head over to Green Man Gaming. You can get codes for Steam, Epic, any of the different stores that they have deals going on. They have deals going on all the time, and if you plan on buying there, please consider using our affiliate link. All of that goes straight to me through the network. Thank you all so much for everything that you do to support this podcast. It means the world to me, and I continue to try and improve the quality and content for you. With that, pirates, let's get back to the show.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like they're going to put the resources in to make that happen, which, I totally understand. It didn't. I think there were some cool ideas with Arena. Didn't end up being exceptionally popular. That's okay. Sea of Thieves is an unrivaled platform for open world events and competitions. It doesn't have to be an esport to be awesome. It doesn't have to be a PvE game or a PvP game to be awesome. It can be its own special thing. And I think that's honestly what Sea of Thieves really, if you look at the 5 Pirates Life Tall Tales, some of them are more in the open world where you're sailing around a little bit. Some of them are off in more contained areas. Some of them have ship combat. Some of them have you fighting monsters. Obviously there isn't PvP in a Tall Tale, but there's plenty of combat with your weapons. There's puzzles and exploration and mysteries to uncover. It's a really good, if you play through those Tall Tales, aside from the PvP portion of the game, you've got a really good idea of how the game works and the basic mechanics. It's almost an extended
tutorial,
maiden voyage. Tutorial in many ways. It does a great job. And as I could see, especially that first one as a new player, I know that some players wish that maybe some of them had been a little more challenging, but I mean, anybody who knows, what's happening here with these properties knows a ton of new people are going to be jumping in. And if they'd made a Tall Tale that was super challenging for those of us that have been playing for 3 years, new players would not have had a great time with it.
I think you're onto something there, because I think that what people want is a challenge, and I think what Sea of Thieves is more an adventure. It's not trying to test your technical abilities. It's more just trying to give you an experience. I was talking with folks, and a lot of them have stated, they would like to have hardcore things or secret things that only people that have been playing the game would actually get to see those. People that are able to do sword lunges, that know about shooting yourself up to places with cannons and stuff. Like, that's a great way to reward people for finding something. But that, you're asking the devs to spend development time to build something into the game that is going to satisfy a fraction of the community, where they're trying to build something that is going to satisfy a larger group, even more so than the normal playing base, for an experience. So it's one of those situations where I look at that perspective and I think, well, that's kind of the same problem with Arena right now, is that there's a hardcore group that want really, really good PvP, and Sea of Thieves is trying to make a game that is going to be approachable for a large portion of the world that isn't playing it.
Right. Yeah, it is challenging, and that's why we haven't seen a ton of content for Pirate Legends so far. It wouldn't make sense to create a whole series of Tall Tales, or a whole new ship type or something super elaborate for Pirate Legends, because amazingly Pirate Legends are still a really small part of the population. One of the most exciting things, and I know people like to complain about this sometimes, but the best thing that can happen for any Pirate Legend is for more people to become Pirate Legend. If you want exclusive content, and obviously, we've got lots of cosmetics, and I think there's technically 3 voyage types technically for Athena's, whatever. Yeah. If you want more content for Pirate Legends, there need to be more Pirate Legends. There's some number where we're not going to make content for, 200,000 people to hopefully play, because not every Pirate Legend is still playing the game either. So the fact that, it used to be 350 hours to make it to Pirate Legend, and now I think people have done it in 24.
Less, yeah.
Less, yeah. That's fine. Great. The more people that become Pirate Legend, the more content, the better chance there is they're going to make content for Pirate Legends. But that's a little off topic.
But Doug, I have so much value in my Pirate Legend title. I'm a Pirate Legend. If people can get it done quicker, it's less valuable to me.
I mean, I've fought a couple of ships with the ghost sails recently that went down so hilariously fast.
That was open crew, not representative of my established title, I'll have you know. I was just there.
I mean, even when it was more difficult to make it to Pirate Legend a year or two ago, Pirate Legend just meant you played the game a lot. It doesn't mean you're good at it. It doesn't mean you know how to communicate with your crew. Like you were saying, Sea of Thieves is not about what they call hard skills. Your reflex, your even learning very specific strategies. Of course, like in a shooter, map knowledge is huge. You have to know every single angle where someone can shoot you from, depending on where you're currently standing, is a super important part of any competitive shooter. But Sea of Thieves isn't about memorizing a bunch of stuff and knowing, memorizing what to do in each situation. Sea of Thieves is about the soft skills. I mean, the most powerful weapon in the game is the megaphone. And we all know it. I was on a crew the other day. This dude gets on the megaphone as we rolled up on him, and he was like, "Hey guys, we're just doing a Tall Tale. We're not trying to bother anyone, but we were running Reapers and they were a level 2 emissary, and they're like, we don't have any loot at all. We don't have any loot. We're just doing a Tall Tale." Yeah, well, it turns out that was a lie. They had an insane amount of loot. They were parked at a shipwreck currently getting loot. We knew they had loot. They had a ton of loot, but that almost worked. It didn't work because they were level 2 emissary, and there were enough of us on the crew. And I'm not going to name names, but there were enough of us on the crew that were like, yeah, we don't believe them. But there were others on the crew that were like, oh, let's not sink them. They're doing it. They're doing a tall tale. They were doing a tall tale, to be fair, but they lied about having loot on their ship. And here's a little tip: don't run an emissary while you're running a tall tale, because some Reapers will come up and sink you for your flag. It's how the emissary system works. It's not what it's for.
It's true. Let me take this opportunity to jump on that point. Reapers and emissary flags. There's something going on right now with tall tales, which may explain why you're seeing more of that. Because if you're running a tall tale, especially with the Pirate's Life, where you can jump through a portal and cancel the voyage once you get out of it, you will immediately get kicked into a regular adventure server, but probably not the same one that you were on. So I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about Reapers chasing emissaries and emissaries using portals to save their flag? And should you be able to carry a flag through the portal, whether it be Reaper or standard emissary?
So I've done this a few times, and I found out about it pretty early on. The community figured this out. We always figure it out pretty fast. The community figured this out pretty fast. Saw people on Twitter talking about it. I didn't mess around with it until I believe it was Sonic Bob put a post on the forums and said, no, this is like an intended mechanic. You can use this mechanic. We're going to keep it in the game. We're not considering it an exploit. Of course, the difference between an exploit and not an exploit is whether or not the developers say it is.
Yeah.
So if they say it's not, that it's not. So that's nice and simple. So I've run this several times. A few things about that. First of all, of course, you can't bring your loot. So if you have loot, you can't just sail away with it, which is obviously a good idea. You do keep your supplies, which is awesome. Even supply crates, cannonball crates, wood crates, fruit crates, you keep all those, whether they have supplies in them or not. Obviously, the stuff in your barrels. If you've run a lot of Reapers, you've gone out and sunk everyone on the server, and then everybody quit out and you server merge. And this is basically just forcing a server merge. Anytime you're playing the game, a level 5 Reaper can pop into existence on your server at any time. You should keep an eye on your map. So
how do you feel about should emissaries be able to dodge Reapers going through portals?
I mean, anytime you want, you can ram your ship into an outpost and throw down your vote to cancel it. And before they can sink you, no matter how hard you're getting hit, it takes a few seconds, at least a minute or two, to sink a ship in Sea of Thieves. You can really do that anyway. I don't see, and like even the first tall tale, it takes a solid 5 minutes for that portal to open. And if you shoot people off to the outpost and you're running, I mean, they're going to know what you're doing. They can really go camp that pretty easily.
Well, let me
even block it.
Let me pose a couple quick objectives that I know people would type in if they're listening to this. The goal of this is you have a checkpoint in your inventory. You drop it heading towards a portal. The portal spawns and you can jump into it immediately. And the benefit is the benefit being that you don't lose your flag the way you would if you had to actually go drop your flag. You would get to actually retain your level and your flag and get away from a Reaper that's chasing you.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I get that it can be a frustration. I feel like for the Reaper's perspective, it gives just as much as it takes away. They're not going to be able to do any of that if you get someone on their ship and drop their anchor and kill them a bunch. Yeah. So if you have a problem with ships getting away, maybe you need to get better at chasing. I do get the concern. It's a change to something really fundamental about how Sea of Thieves has worked this whole time. Yeah. And so I understand that people are going to have feelings about it. And, this is just my personal opinion. I think it's cool that as a Reaper, you can go to level 5 and you can go hunt all night. And you don't have to worry about getting on a server where there are no emissaries, because that's frustrating, because that's what you're really going after, is what you're supposed to be going after as a Reaper, is those emissary flags. That's where you get the real rep and money. And it is frustrating, because you're like, wow, we have 500 planks and 1,000 cannonballs and all this cool stuff, but we can't use any of it because we just didn't happen to end up on a server with any emissaries. And then one pops on, but then they see a level 5 Reaper, so they leave. I mean, you're not gonna load into a server and see a level 5 Reaper and you want to run emissary, you're probably just gonna pick a different server.
Yeah, I
understand that frustration too.
So that's kind of the situation that I think a lot of people are wondering if it's something that should be fair, if it's something that should not be fair. Emissaries managing to get away with their flags if you're a Reaper is definitely frustrating. It's hard to, in my opinion, I've said this on my Discord, is I think if you want to make it fair, then you drop your like, it just kills your emissary or your Reaper. I know that that's frustrating as a Reaper 5 to spawn into a new server and completely lose the ability to see if there's any other emissaries. But if you're using the portal system, it's easy enough for you to head over to the outpost, check the tables, see if there's anyone out there as an emissary, and then go hunt them down naturally the way you would if you had done it if it were a fresh server. The difference is
you
that
still have your supplies.
supplies.
Yeah, I get that. I wouldn't be surprised if Sea of Thieves tweaked it so that you lose your emissary flag if that happens. I could see that.
I think
that would make sense.
Yeah, that would be a way that I think you could serve. Like there has to be a risk and reward. If people can't take their flag through a portal, then the emissaries, then the Reapers would have to work to get back to the state that they were at before they decided to go through the actual portal as well too.
Yeah, and I get that. I can see that. I think it's important for people to keep in mind, though, that server merges do happen. And even before this, a level 5 Reaper could pop into existence on your server. Admittedly, this makes it much more likely, but that was always part of the game, technically.
Yeah, I think the key thing here is veteran players need to get back into the habit of checking their tables if they're out on voyages. It's a merge could happen at any point, and having the ability to do this on the fly means that it's even more likely for it to happen. The difference is if you know that your server's pretty healthy, you got a lot of ships, less likelihood that could happen. But there's nothing to say that any of the people that are on your server can't just switch to Reapers. It's not like they're locked in forever. I wanted to kind of put a pin in the conversation, unless there was anything that you can think of that you wanted to touch on between competitive and esports for Sea of Thieves. Was there anything that we missed?
I think I feel like a lot of what I said, was about what Sea of Thieves isn't. And I do want to talk briefly just about what it is. The amount of creativity that people can bring to events and competitive events in Sea of Thieves is amazing, and it's just getting started. And I would really encourage people to go out there, even if you don't have access to custom servers. We built 50 fleets for the Race of Legends before we got custom servers from Rare. We built 50. And so I understand that that's frustrating and time consuming, as well as literally anyone. I get it. But if you really believe in your idea and you think you have something cool, even if it's a different type of race, like, it doesn't have to be totally, like, don't go to somebody else, go do a pirate race, but make it different enough for mine. Find some stuff I'm not doing well and do yours better. Like, there's so much room for creativity, for competitions and adventures. People have done their own riddle quests and their own little mini tall tales where they have characters on different islands, and people have done all kinds of awesome things. Like, the creativity that Sea of Thieves inspires, whether it's the Race of Legends or a painting or or a riddle or whatever it is. I mean, it just inspires so much creativity. There's something about the game that just inspires so much creativity, and I really encourage people to go out there, and if you have an idea, execute on it and make it happen and refine it and learn from your experiences, because it's awesome what you can do. You can create these really intense moments that aren't like anything else that you have in the game. The game is amazing and you have all kinds of intense things, but it's rare that you're going directly up against another crew to get to the same place at the same time to complete a specific task. It's cool. You can create really neat experiences that you don't get too much of in the main game. So I just really encourage people to go out there, find a Sea of Thieves event and watch it. If you don't want to create one, I understand. To find one and watch it, compete in one if it sounds like something that's fun. Register for the Race of Legends, the Curse of Legends, or any of the other events that are going on. They're really intense, even if you don't end up doing it all the time. Definitely give it a shot. It's a good time.
Yeah, and I think I'm hoping that with this we'll get an opportunity for more people to get their hands on customer servers, because one of the things that really does well is We had things like Twitch drops recently. We have them for partners all the time. If partners are streaming, you can watch them to get drops. But recently, we got the creator crew set up where anyone could actually stream the game, and you could watch them for 20 minutes get cosmetics. Like that, to me, is what Sea of Thieves is about. It's less about esports. It's less about things like where you're bringing in the upper echelon of players from Call of Duty or Valorant or CSGO, things like that. And putting them into a situation where they're playing a game that is less accurate, less or more prone to random stuff, things like that, and seeing them get frustrated trying to do what they do best, and more about like watching regular people play the game and seeing their random experiences and their reactions to it. Because I think anyone can know what to expect if they're watching Shroud play a CSGO or Valorant. He's going to be very calm, calculated. He's going to hit every headshot. He's going to be exceptional at what he does because that's what he does. But watching, Happy Kraken X or someone, stream. I mean, I know she's a partner now, but she didn't used to be. She got partner pretty quickly, but watching newer streamers come out of the woodwork and just seeing their experience, things like that, it's what I think Sea of Thieves is all about. And I'm hoping that with custom servers, if those are something that more people can get access to, seeing things like Race of Legends or Beacon Brawlers, things like that, where they see the potential in having their own communities, even their smaller communities. They can do these smaller events even just for their community, and then have that just kind of build out the idea of it's that old is it a parable where you can give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, or you can teach a man to fish and he'll eat forever. It's that idea of teaching someone how to create the thing that they love, so that they can turn around and create more of it, not only for themselves, but also teach other people. It's what Sea of Thieves does really well. No one comes on to Sea of Thieves knowing how to play the game. They play the game by either playing the game themselves or jumping onto a crew and having someone bark orders at them so that they do the thing that they need to do at the right time.
It's all part of the adventure.
It's true. Well, I love the idea of where things are going with Sea of Thieves. I am extremely curious to see how things will go with Arena, where they can take it, what they can do to maybe improve it, or just use my idea, have Arena aspects of the game be brought to Sea of Thieves. Bring in those big old turn-in points, have random chests spawn at the center mark where Sea Dog Tavern is, and have people have to go out and try and go get something and then bring it back to the Sea Dog Tavern. I think having a fetch quest in the form of a PvP event for adventure mode might be interesting. They tried this with those Reaper mercenary missions forever ago, where they sent people to Wanderer's Refuge and Shipwreck Bay. They tested this, and everyone was frustrated. Some people didn't do it. Some people waited. Some people got it done right away. Some people had a really, really good time getting a whole lot of treasure out of it. So there's possibilities all the time for this. I'm hoping that they'll do something with that. With this, I did have a couple questions, because I think we covered a majority of what I wanted to talk about, but I did want to talk to you about the Steam Deck, because that just recently got announced, and it's something that I think really kind of changes the playing field. Like if folks haven't gotten a hand of, first of all, I guess, have you heard of it? Have you researched it? What do you think of it? Before we jump into what it is and why I think it's important to Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I've taken a look at the hardware. It looks really cool. I'm amazed at how powerful it is for the price. They seem to have done a really good job. I mean, it's just a little more expensive than a Switch, but it is a lot more powerful and a lot more flexible. Obviously I haven't held one, and they don't even have the final production version out for most of these people. But it does look really great. The thumbsticks look like a lot more precise than the Joy-Cons on the Switch. And I have the Switch. I think it's a great device, but the Joy-Con thing is a little wonky. The thumb pads look cool. The storage is a little skinny on the first one, but they've got an SD card slot in there. I mean, honestly, that thing is only a little less powerful than the PC I use for all my gaming and my job.
Yeah,
it's impressive.
It is insanely impressive. So if you haven't heard about this, Valve, the creators of Steam, for most PC players, understand what Steam is. It's a great resource if you're looking to get a lot of different games, especially at low costs. And Microsoft has been publishing a lot of their first party content to Steam for a while, and it has done exceptionally well. Every time I see reports on the top selling games, there's at least one or two Microsoft properties in that top. Ever since A Pirate's Life, I think for the last 4 weeks, Sea of Thieves has been in the top 5, and they've announced that they're releasing hardware. Not your Steam TV thing, not the controller or your Steam Link, and it's not a Vive, but this is the answer to a Switch. If you've been wanting a Switch, but you're a PC player and you want to play your PC's library on the go the way you would if you were using a Switch, this is a really, really good answer to that. Dedicated hardware designed specifically to play video games. A lot of what Microsoft does is they are trying to use devices that you already have and give you the opportunity to play games from their library, especially through Game Pass, on devices that aren't originally designed for that type of thing. And they're doing a great job with touch controls. I think the touch controls for Sea of Thieves are manageable. I think you can definitely play the game. You're not going to play the game well, but you can definitely play the game with the touch controls for mobile phones and stuff. But with a Steam Deck, it starts out at $400. I think the next one up is $530. And then I think the highest one is 650. The tech specs for this are insane. You're talking about this being more powerful. This is a 7-inch screen at 720p. It's an LCD screen, but it has 8 RDNA 2 CPU or compute units that equals about 1.6 teraflops, which, if you're not sure like how that matches up compared to like consoles, I believe the Xbox One is 1.4 teraflops. If I'm remembering I'm trying to remember right now. Actually, I'm just going to look it up. So the Xbox One, the standard system, is not giving me the information I want. Holy crud. Okay, so the Series X has 12, the One X has 6. I'm pretty sure, here it is. Okay, so the Xbox One has 1.31 teraflops of computing power. So just looking at the Steam Deck tech specs, that is already going to be more powerful at a lower resolution. So the frame rate should be able to manage 60 frames per second if you're playing Sea of Thieves on the Steam Deck.
Yes.
The big thing about this is that the controls look amazing. You've got thumbsticks, you've got the ABXY, it's got the double it's got bumpers and triggers. You've also got 4 buttons on the back, similar to what do they call it? The Series Elite, or the Elite Series controller, where you have the paddles. So there's 4 buttons on the back. So this is something where, like, I've been wanting, and sorry, the display is actually 1280 by 800, not 720. I've been wanting a portable version of Sea of Thieves for years. In fact, I even made one of my more popular YouTube videos is a stupid video that I put out forever ago when Rare was doing one of their game jams, and people were just, creating fun stuff. And I went and recorded footage of Sea of Thieves and then edited it so that it looked like it was playing on my Switch, and used the Gold Hoarder Tataku figure to spawn in a chest, which was literally just Jay Pizzle on my mast, and he was just dropping chests when I told him to. So it's one of those things where people have been wanting to play Sea of Thieves portably for a while. We've had the opportunity to try it out with phones, and even with like a Razer Kishi or a Backbone, you can get a much better experience. If you want, you can still use a clip on a controller and using a regular controller, but then you got to drag around a controller, and you're still burning your actual phone battery at the same time. You don't get the benefit of having your phone battery on top of being able to game as well. You have to sacrifice one of those. I think the Steam Deck is going to be a perfect way for people who want to play games that aren't on a Nintendo system that is locked down. If you want to play with Bluetooth headphones, you can play with Bluetooth headphones. You can use Party Chat. You can use Discord. You can install Windows on this. You can download the Microsoft store at that point. It's all running off of a version of Linux that is using, I think, a Proton emulator is what they called it, where you can actually emulate a lot of the software that's available through Steam. Even if it's a mouse and keyboard game, there's touch pads underneath the thumbsticks to be able to access stuff. It is basically everything. Like it is the kitchen sink included in this device. And the fact that they managed to give you the entry point at 400 says a lot about how aggressive they're trying to be with this hardware. They really, really want to get those people that are looking at the Switch and thinking, the Switch is fun, but it doesn't have all the games I want. I want to be able to play Witcher 3 on the go in the way that it was intended. And Valve sees that and they're like, all right, cool. Well, we want that too. So we're going to build this system and leave it as open as possible so that if you want to jailbreak the hell out of this thing, you'll be able to do that. And those savvy enough to create videos will help others who aren't savvy enough to be able to do this. Having Steam, having Sea of Thieves on Steam, is this something that if money was no object, how often do you think you'd see yourself using something like this?
I mean, for me personally, I'm not like riding public transportation every day to and from work or, riding along on long car trips or whatever. I could see, I really like sitting out on my back porch just generally. I just like being outside and seeing the weather and just not being inside all the time. Mm-hmm. I could see sitting out. I mean, it would be great to be playing Sea of Thieves with my friends. And, sometimes every couple hours, I just need to go outside and just see the sky. Especially when the weather's nice. It would be awesome to be able to quit out of the crew and join back in from a mobile device and go outside and play. That would be awesome. Or you're on vacation or, you're like, I'll go on a family vacation in a couple of weeks here where I'll be away from my desktop, not going to be playing Sea of Thieves, via xCloud on my phone. If I'm honest, part of the reason is I need to use my phone for other things.
Yeah.
You get a phone call, you get text messages and other stuff coming in. I would rather have a separate device for that, I think.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't go out as much, hashtag real gamer. I think that this is something that I love playing video games on my breaks at work. I go outside, I sit in a shaded area on a little stone table, and I just I've been playing Metroid Samus Returns recently because they've got Dread coming out, and I've been wanting to get back into that 2D Metroid thing. So I've been, I got my phone open for one to a guide from IGN. Thank you, IGN, for your guides. And I've got the guide there, and I've got my 3DS, and I use my phone as my supplementary screen the way I would if I'm sitting in front of my computer. And I've got one monitor with all my notes and reference material, and I've got my podcast recording on the other screen. It's just a natural way that we've become accustomed to devices. If you're into devices, you want to have two screens. Being able to have all of your stuff on your phone is tough, especially if you're burning battery. So I'm hoping that this is something that really hits with the community. It seems like a lot of outlets are excited to see how this works. I think a lot of people are trepidatious about the history of Valve with their hardware.
That's fair. I had a Steam controller and a Steam box, actually. Briefly.
So I see where the hesitation comes from. It's not unwarranted. I think the difference is I think Valve wants this to work as much as gamers want this to work. It seems, based off of Gabe Newell's, talks about this, he plays his Switch all the time. He's always on that thing. He won't stop telling me about it. So I know he wants this device to work. I know he wants this to be something that really, really capitalizes on, I think, the thing that PC gamers don't have the ability to do, which is to get up and take their games anywhere they want. Steam Link is nice on your phone, but again, it goes back to that idea of you have to sacrifice your phone battery for that. And that's acceptable for a lot of people. Not everyone's going to be buying the brand new phones every year or two and have that battery life. A lot of us are living off of phone batteries that are 3-4 years old at this point and just aren't going to hold the charges as well as they used to. But I'm super excited for this. I would love to see a situation where we're able to go to like Sea of Thieves Fest and be able to take our Steam Decks there and hang out with people and actually get to play Sea of Thieves on cruise on a custom server and do Race of Legends at a convention like scenario. Like the idea between that with having the opportunity to use Game Pass on mobile, it's so cool. Just the opportunities that are available right now. I wanted to tell a quick story, and I'll say this, and then I want to get into questions if you're good with that. Was there anything with Steam Deck that you wanted to jump into? Any hopes or dreams before we switch?
No, I mean, I just want to be able to play Sea of Thieves everywhere. But yeah, you covered that pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could be a really cool secondary work device for people who'd rather not use a laptop. I think that device, the hardware, has a ton of really cool potential, but this is Keelhauled, so let's keep it to Sea of Thieves.
Fair.
But it's a cool device. It's really neat hardware. It's very flexible. I think people are going to do some really, really cool stuff with that.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what the opportunities, especially with emulation. I know Jeff was. I made the snarky tweet about how. No, I'll tell you this back to the rare dev that actually tweeted this. Josh and Kato posted a photo about how the Switch won't play Sea of Thieves, but the Steam Deck will. And
I think I retweeted that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, and it can't play. The Switch can't play Wind Waker. Just like the Steam Deck, but at least you can play Sea of Thieves on the Steam Deck. And Jeff Pegleg Perez comes back with this snarky tweet, and he's like, actually, you can play Wind Waker on the Steam Deck. And I'm like, get out of here with your emulation. And I was like, you know what? That's kind of funny. You could actually do that. You could actually put an emulator on Steam Deck and play a game that Nintendo owns that Nintendo refuses to port to their system before Nintendo does it. Happy 35th anniversary, Zelda. I love you. I can't wait to get back to Skyward Sword. So
I bought my Switch and basically played Breath of the Wild, and that was what I bought my Switch for. I played almost nothing else. I have no regrets. It was an incredible game.
I don't blame you. I that was the first game with the console at launch. It's the only thing I wanted to play. I took 2 weeks off from work to play.
Wow. That's awesome.
I took 2 weeks off work and I sat like a child, cross-legged in front of the TV with my Pro controller, just playing Zelda. And my wife would walk by once in a while and she's like, how's it going? I'm like, it's going amazing. This game is a masterpiece. So good. And that was good. My filthy hardcore gamer story. That was Zelda to me. I can't wait for that to be the same situation with the Steam Deck when and if I can actually get that. There's so many things I want to buy, Doug, and I can't.
That's a similar problem.
I can't do it. There's too much cool tech out there that I want to buy that I just can't buy, and it makes me sad. Real quick, Sea of Thieves podcast, the official Sea of Thieves podcast, has been a little dry on its release schedule. When do you think we're getting another episode of Sea of Thieves podcast?
I mean, I hope soon. Didn't they restart it recently? Right?
Yeah,
it was a thing way back in the day, and then it kind of fell off, right? And then they brought it back, and it was a thing, and then it wasn't anymore. Am I?
No. Yep. That's a pretty accurate description. It was a thing. They stopped the thing. I took over the thing while they were still doing their thing. And then I became the de facto thing. Then they came back to say that they're still doing the thing. And they haven't done the thing in like 2 months. I think the last one came out in May.
Come on your podcast when they have something they want to say.
I know.
And just call it a day. That seems like it's a time saver for everybody.
That's what I'm saying.
Great content for your podcast. They don't have to produce a podcast because you're already doing it. But I'm just a simple pirate. What do I know?
Support the community. They're giving codes, they're giving custom servers out to all the streamers.
Yeah,
just come on the podcast if you want to say something. I've got the syndication going, I've got this set up, I'll publish it, I'll do all the work. All you have to do is just come tell me what you want to put out into the world, and I'll let everyone else know. It
sounds like a great system to me.
I love it. I like that idea. I think they should definitely listen to you. You've got your finger on the pulse. I appreciate that so much. We're going to have some Twitch drops in August. Those are coming up. Keep an eye out for those. I believe that they're towards the beginning, which is or only a couple of weeks away at this point. So keep an eye out. Doug, do you do drops?
On occasion, it's interesting. And there's probably a whole book to be written about social media and streaming and audience behavior around this. But for, a lot of Sea of Thieves partners see, a 5x or even 10x on their numbers for drops. But some of it's the nature that we stream later in the day, and most of the people who are just showing up for drops have already gotten them. But drops don't make a huge difference for us in terms of audience size. Occasionally we'll get like one of those monster raids from a Sea of Thieves partner, but for us, it's not like a huge deal, the drops. I don't know. I mean, people are really just showing up for the races. Like, we've done giveaways, and yeah, a couple people show up for the giveaways, but like, people are mostly there to watch the races, no matter what we do, it seems, which is great. I mean, I love our community a lot. But yeah, I mean, if we can give out drops and do a race at the same time, that's awesome. But we tried to schedule our content around them in the past, and it's really challenging to schedule them that way. So we just kind of have to do what we do. And I think the one in August might line up with one of our events. I'll have to double check. You can probably look on the website and figure it out, but I have to double check. But I think we're going to have an event for the next round of drops. So it's always a little added excitement,
Yeah, it's nice to be able to see something other than someone sailing around looking for ships to sink and get your Twitch drops that way. I would much rather watch.
I like to think so.
Yeah, I'd much rather watch a race and see like an outcome to that, because chances are if people come in for the drops and they're watching 20 minutes, there's a good chance they're going to stick around and want to watch the outcome of the actual race. So many times I'll sit there and catch myself standing in front of the TV while my wife is watching some competitive show, and I'm like, I don't actually care about this. I've already stepped into the arena and I'm watching it. I might as well see who wins. So
yeah, your brain wants to complete things. Yes, very nice. Yeah.
So, but I said I wanted to tell a story. I wanted to touch on a situation that popped up. So the Friends event ended on the 15th. I squeezed in at the very last minute to get the last few favors that I needed to be able to get the title, which I genuinely didn't need, but it's one of those dumb completion things. My brain said I needed to get it.
I get it.
I was so impressed with the Microsoft ecosystem. Have you ever run into a situation where you're playing on your system, whether it be PC or Xbox or on mobile, and you're just like, for whatever reason, I don't know what it was. I was playing on my PC, and I was watching a stream on the other thing, and my system locked. Like hard locked. It is never hard locked on me before, but I thought it was just the game crashing, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just restart the game. And I waited for it to close out. It didn't do anything. My system was just completely frozen. And this was in the middle of doing a ghost ship voyage to try and do ships. So I'm sitting there doing my circle around Smuggler's Bay and anticipating like the fleets to kind of come around, and I'll pick off the ships and whatnot. No, system hard locked. I freak out. I'm sitting here trying to think like, oh God, what do I do? What do I do? How long is it going to take for my computer to boot up? How long is it going to restart? So I grabbed my Xbox controller. I hit the little Nexus button and I booted up my Series X, which is connected to my other monitor. So I switched the input. The speed of this system was fast enough to not only boot up from beginning, boot up Sea of Thieves, because it's not on quick resume as much as I would love it to be. Boot up Sea of Thieves and get me logged back into my ship in time for me to spawn into my sloop just as the water level was just about to go over the top deck.
Wow.
And
Did you save it?
I saved it.
Wow.
I absolutely saved it. And I was so surprised because I was like, I'm dead. I'm screwed. I'm never going to, all those skulls completely gone. My flag gone. So I wanted to just say, because there's so few opportunities as a Sea of Thieves streamer or podcaster, whatever I am. So few opportunities for me to talk about the actual Xbox ecosystem. But I gotta say, man, playing on this system, if this had been any other console, if this had been Steam or PlayStation or Sony or Nintendo, I would have been screwed. There's
literally sunk. Yep.
I would have been sunk. There's nothing that would have been able to bring me back. But the fact that I was playing on my PC hard locked, the ecosystem is so well set up with Microsoft that I was able to boot up a completely different platform instantly, jump back into the same exact game that I had and save my ship blew my mind. I was just like, this is how gaming should be. This is what's amazing. But I could have done it with my phone. It would have done the same exact thing. But it was so great to be able to be like, I have two really nice pieces of hardware. One failed me, the other saved me. And it didn't matter to the experience because the ecosystem is designed in a way to support multiple platforms on the same session. And like I saved my ship, I finished up the fleet, and I got my title. But I was more impressed with just the way that the system is built right now, that I was just like, God, if this had been like, I don't even know if this would have worked with other Microsoft games, but the fact that Sea of Thieves allows you to rejoin session, it was so amazing. So I wanted to tell this story because it was just such a crazy story that it even worked. The fact that it worked was just like, oh, that's one of the best experiences I've had on Sea of Thieves, and it had nothing to do with what I was doing in Sea of Thieves.
Right. It's amazing. It's such an amazing ecosystem, and everyone else is so far behind on this type of thing. It is awesome. And the ability to play on all these different devices, even just some of the stuff that it's easy to take for granted if you only play on PC and Xbox, like a whole thing with like Ghost of Tsushima and some of these other PS5 games. And if you want to play on the PS5 with like your previous progression, then you have to like update the PS4 version and then check this box here and then go to the PS5 and download it and then check that box and then import it. And like, it's all these steps. And then on Xbox, it's like, you just log in and it's all there. It's like, it's so easy to take for granted because it's so seamless and in the background, especially PC to Xbox. What a piece of cake. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's insane. I felt so bad reading the what was it? A Plague's Tale came out on the 6th.
Oh, yeah.
And like the difference between having to load up the latest version on PS4, to upload your save to the cloud, to go to the PS5 and download the game and then update the game so that it's at the latest version, and then to pull your save in from the cloud. It's like, man, the amount of work, it's so ironic because Sea of Thieves is such a tactile game. You have to dig up your treasure. You have to pick up the treasure. You have to put the treasure on the ship, and then you have to take the ship to the outpost where you will then grab the treasure and then walk it over to the vendor and hand it to the vendor.
Yeah. One piece at a time.
One piece at a time. That is the process of having to deal with game saves for PlayStation. And I love it in Sea of Thieves, and I hate it with PlayStation. What is wrong with my mind?
In menus, it's not as much fun in menus as it is in a beautifully designed pirate world, strangely enough. And then of course, let's not forget that the games are $70, and I don't want to make this a PlayStation Xbox thing, but here we are. The games are $70, and you got to pay for the upgraded versions for something $5-10, right? For a lot of to go from PS4 to PS5. You already bought the game, and now you got to buy an upgrade. And I'm not even going to start about Game Pass, because then we're going to get off on a whole Game Pass thing. But Game Pass is obviously the best value in gaming. It's not even close.
Yeah,
it's almost becoming a joke at this point.
Oh, it's already
before the Bethesda purchase, it was the best value in gaming.
Yeah, it really was. It's funny because you say it's totally become a joke. It's already been a joke on Twitter. The fact that people are like, it's such a good meme. And I love the news of Netflix looking to get into gaming, because if Netflix gets into gaming and they start streaming titles, I think it's going to be hilarious when Apple has to decide if they're going to get rid of Netflix because they can't support games that they can't rate on a streaming service.
I don't know. I'm very interested to see what Netflix's play is in gaming. I hope they come a little better prepared to the party than Google did. But
when did they come to the party?
I have thoughts on Stadia too, but that's another podcast.
Okay. Sea of Thieves. Let's get back to Sea of Thieves. We had I'm going to grab a couple of the questions because we're running short on time here, and I want to get you out beforehand. But one of the questions that I thought was really good. Do you think that Pirates of the Caribbean, and these come in from Caleb, who was just on the podcast the last 2 episodes, so he put these in. He wanted to have these for someone else to have a different opinion on. He writes in and says, do you or your guest think that the Pirates of the Caribbean collaboration is a one-time thing, or will it be similar to how Fortnite continuously releases new Marvel cosmetics now that they have established the relationship?
Oh boy, I hope so. That'd be awesome. I mean, I would love to see more Pirates of the. Honestly, I mean, if we're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean properties that I've enjoyed the most, it's gonna go Sea of Thieves, Tall Tales, and then a giant gap. But I like the movies, especially the first one. I did rewatch them all recently with the update coming out.
Oh, I saw that tweet.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it. You know, they're summer popcorn movies. They're not going to change your life, but they're good movies. They're really entertaining. You know, family friendly, good stuff. You know, what's
Pirates of the Caribbean?
What's not to like?
It did change my life. I'll have you know.
The first one was awesome, and it is one of the best. It's right up there with Muppet Treasure Island. It is one of the best pirate movies, which I also rewatched recently. It is one of the best pirate movies of all time. It's fantastic. But the Sea of Thieves Tall Tales were absolutely amazing, and I would love to see more. I would love it if Sea of Thieves and Pirates of the Caribbean, like if that was just Pirates of the Caribbean is only in Sea of Thieves now, guys. We're done with the movies. They're not as, we looked at it and we were like, you know what? The game is just better. So we're just not going to do the movies anymore. We're going to leave literally hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars on the table, which just sounds like something Disney would do.
It's been known. They've definitely
keep
numerous
times. As long as we go see them, guys. If you don't, they're going to keep making Marvel movies, Disney movies, all the animated stuff, Star Wars. They're going to keep making them because we keep going to watch them. It is what it is, guys. You can complain as much as you want, but you can't argue with billions in box office sales.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
That's how the world works.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some Pirates of the Caribbean cosmetics coming to the game. I remember I was talking with Caleb about this. I'm pretty sure that they didn't drop everything that they wanted to drop right away. I do think that they are going to be releasing more. I hope that it's in the form of Tall Tales, but I imagine it's going to take more time for those to get built up. So in 6 months, I imagine that we'll hopefully get a couple more Tall Tales that kind of lead more from the Sea of Thieves aspect of what happened with Pirate's Life to give us more lore about Captain or Wanda or Duke. I'm hoping that that's kind of going to be the case for that, but I at least hope that they give us some more cosmetics for the game. I think having Jack the monkey would be a great pet to add, an easy pet to add. For that, I'm a little surprised we didn't get that actually. Yeah, me too. A skeleton version 2, probably. I think we would. But. Yeah. I think a skeleton, a skeleton version of a pirate for a costume would be great. Absolutely. I don't also know. Helpful for the Curse of Legends, but that's off topic. That would be amazing. So cool. That would be great. Just go and equip the curse or have it be a costume so you can actually see who's cursed and not. That's a great tools, not rules, right? That's what they're always talking about. So the other question that I wanted to jump into is the rare lore question for Caleb that he'd love to see me or you answer. What is the importance of the Silver Blade in Tall Tale 2? Caleb found the journals confusing. What exactly do they reveal about it? I'm assuming you've been through all the Tall Tales multiple times. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I 100%ed everything, got the shanty. Yeah. That shanty. Cool. So with the Silver Blade, we finally found it in the game. It's been long rumored that it's there. We understand the importance of Flameheart Jr.'s crew bringing it to the Sea of Thieves. The secondary crew found the ship after the mermaids had repaired it and had it in the world, and they just came across it and then absconded with it, for lack of a better term. Why do you think they bring in the Silver Blade? It has no ties to the captain. It has no ties to anything in Sea of Thieves that's going on right now. In fact, Flameheart is a mere mention in journals. So why bring the Silver Blade in? Boy, I don't know. That's a great question, though. I don't know. That's a fantastic question. I feel like there's an answer to it, and Mike Chapman's the only one that knows. We're just waiting for him to reveal another gem of brilliance. I don't know. That's a great question. I hadn't even thought about it from that angle. It is a little out of place. I hit him up on Twitter and I was like, hey, Mr. Chapman, why is Ramses so out of the picture with A Pirate's Tale? Like everything, all this is going on right now. He has not done a thing. And he's supposed to be friends with the ferryman. Shows no concern about what's going on with the ferryman at all. He's just still hanging out in his tavern, doing his own thing, greeting pirate legends and giving them really long voyages that they'd rather not do for a chest to get a decent amount of reputation because there's no Fort of Fortune going up. Ramses is missing in all of this. You know what his answer was? Reasons.
I think I saw it. Yeah, reasons. Yeah.
Really, Mike?
I did see that.
Really?
That's a monster.
The only reason I can think of it's like Chekhov's gun in a movie. You if you show a gun on a hearth and you don't fire that gun any point in the movie, you have to ask yourself, was it worth showing that gun? Right. Same thing with the Silver Blade. If you're going to show the Silver Blade, if you're going to tell a story of a crew who used the Silver Blade and was sunk as a result, there's a reason for it. The Silver Blade is tied directly to Flameheart Jr. I think that character is an integral part to how we're going to be putting a capstone on the tomb that is Flameheart Sr. And will kind of put effectively it's putting that last nail in the coffin on how we deal with Flameheart, because at the moment I think the Dark Brethren with Duke the Dark Lord and Wander the Warsmith, they are the ones that are going to be taking the helm as we find out what is going on with the captain. I think they are going to be heading up that approach, and I think Flameheart Jr. is going to be the thing that helps us tie the knot on Flameheart, and introducing the introducing the Silver Blade into the game gives us a basis for the lore, so that when Flameheart Jr. shows up somewhere, it will be more likely for us to know what's going on. Now, whether Duke the Dark Lord is Flameheart Jr., that's a whole nother story, because I don't know about that. Captain.
I don't know. All right. First of all, you were right about Duke all along, and I was always like, you've been calling him Duke the Dark Lord for, I don't know how, this whole time, and I've been listening to the podcast this whole time, and I was like, I don't know, Duke seems like a pretty nice guy. Like, he's obviously a little shady, but we're all pirates, who's to say where the line is for shady? And he got pretty suspicious when it looked like he was working with the Reapers for a while there, the whole Stitcher Jim thing. That being said, which also, where's Stitcher Jim? I thought for sure we were going to see him. There was an empty chair at the table in the Dark Brethren. Now, was that for the captain? Was that for Flameheart Junior or Senior? Was it for that being said, when I walked into that room and saw Duke there, I felt a betrayal on a very deep level, like I never have before. Like, he's our buddy from the tavern, man. He's our bro. He was helping us get some cool stuff. He was giving us little fun things to go do in between trying to make Pirate Legend. I mean, he's our buddy. He sells us little cosmetics. He's the only, I can't believe it. And he just jumps in, apparently just for money. Unless I missed anything, it's not even like they threatened him. He's just there for money. They bought him off. Come on, Duke. Man, we've been buddies for a long time. We've been through a lot together. And he turned on us, man.
He didn't. Okay. No, he didn't turn on you. That's the thing. He's always been bad. He's been fronting for so long. He's not. He is a fair weather friend by the sheer nature of the term. He has only been doing what he wants, and he's been using us to get we have been his henchmen for so long. And
those Reaper's chests, those rag and bone crates.
Yep. The dark relics. Sure. Destroy mermaid statues. Why not? Right. I get cosmetics. I absolutely. I feel so bad for friends that felt betrayed by him, because I've been trying to warn you all for so long.
You did. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, you did your best, but I was on his side right up until the end there.
It's okay. It's okay. Monster. I am still your friend. I will still, if there's a whistle to be blown, I will blow it.
I ran into your captain the other day when I was doing a fort, and I just had the thought that, what if we walk into the next meeting of the Dark Brethren and your captain is sitting there?
Oh, no!
I would once again feel betrayed.
No!
Logan!
They can't do that. I would have to sign off on that. I'm sorry.
I think so. Yeah. I think they would run that one past you.
I would hope
but that
so.
would cut deep. But I mean, you might keep it a secret. For all I know, they already have. And we're just going to walk in and it's going to be like, yeah, the podcast was just get information about.
No. Okay.
It was all part of my plan. It was Logan all along.
I understand. I now understand, and I can sympathize with anyone that feels betrayed by Duke. Looking at it from this perspective, totally would feel that way if my skeleton showed up at the next Brethren Court meeting. I sitting over by the coffee, making a cup of coffee, putting his name, Captain Logan, on "Hello, my name is," and sticking it on his chest, only to have it flop off a little bit because there's nothing to attach it to. I would feel pretty betrayed after that. That I can see where that's coming from. So I'm sorry that you felt betrayed. I will try to warn everyone as much as I can about stuff. Keep an eye out for that captain thing. By the way, Falcor, it's not the cursed captain, dude. I love your videos. So. I love you. I don't think it's the cursed captain. I think it's going to be something different. They wouldn't I say this full well knowing that they totally changed Duke from the guy that gives you stuff to the bad guy. So it's dumb it would be ignorant of me to say there's no way that Rare would ever take the cursed captain, a good guy like that, and make him into the captain. But they totally could.
About that. I thought about that. I saw that video. There may I don't know about that. We finally met a friendly skeleton. He was so nice. I like him.
Yeah, I'm fine if they're jovial. I'm totally cool with that. It's such a welcome relief to the constant, like, I'm gonna bury you in your bones into the ground. I'm gonna burn the Sea of Thieves. Yeah. Like, all right, I get
Remember when they called us fleshies and it was super offensive?
Oh God, these freaking bonies. This has been great, Doug. I've been wanting to get you back on for a while.
This is awesome.
I think this is a great opportunity for folks to get back into the Race of Legends, to see season 7. Registration's open now. It's starting on the 24th of July. It's going on for the next bunch of weekends after that. Yeah. So and then they're going to be doing you're going to be doing Curse of Legends afterwards. And that's going to be going all the way up until November. Plenty of opportunities for people to jump in to watch and support. You do an amazing thing for Sea of Thieves as a community, Doug. I don't know how you manage it all. You've got an amazing crew. I think the world of them. And I hope that Rare decides, if Rare can ever take anything away from a podcast. I listen to tons of podcasts. There's always things where I'm like, I'm gonna send an email about this for sure. I'm gonna remember by the end of this 2-hour podcast. If Rare takes anything away from this episode, I hope they take away 2 things. One, don't take my captain and make him bad without me knowing.
That's fair.
And the second thing, give Race of Legends some sales, guys. They totally deserve some sales as gifts for the victors of Race of Legends.
Can't argue with you there.
I think they did. I think you totally deserve it. You've been you've even said over, what was it, 500 pirates?
500 competitors,
competing.
If we had sales to give away to people who've won the Race of Legends, I'd be giving away close to 300 of them.
Yeah,
they wouldn't even be close to the rarest sales out there. I mean, the deckhand sales, the ones for the SOT shot competitions, obviously the rare sales. There'd be a whole bunch of sales way more rare than the Race of Legends sales. There'd be hundreds of them out there.
True, but to me it's less about.
It'd be awesome. Like, that's a good thing to me. I think that's amazing.
Yeah,
I would love to see Race of Legends sales all over the place. That'd be awesome.
If anything, that would speak to the people that are sailing on that crew, their prowess of navigating the world. It would be a great thing to see, and it would also show just how many people you've brought to the community in a fun and new and interesting way, as opposed to, these folks were just forum users, these folks were just really good at photography. It's like, no, you brought crews together, you brought communities together I mean, that to me is way cooler than the Indiana Jones Sea of Thieves shot that I saw the other day on Twitter, which I'm really trying to figure out a good way to do that competition, because my Jurassic Park ideas seem pale in comparison to what these guys came up with.
There've been some good ones. That one with Captain Hook and Pan fighting on the mast.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
Oh, that was good. There've been some great ones. That was whoever at Rare had the idea for that for a contest. That was a really good one.
Oh,
People
man.
have done a great job.
Struck gold, absolute gold. I don't think they anticipated nearly, like, I'm just grabbing the SOT shot one. I've already seen there's Sound of Music. There's the 300, which is hilarious.
I saw that one. The bodies in the background.
Yeah, with the bodies in the background. Jaws, like someone did Baywatch.
That's impressive.
There's Hangover. Oh my God, it's pure gold. See that one? Pure That's gold. Great. There's oh God, someone did Shaun of the Dead. Someone did awesome. Jason and the Argonauts. This is
wow. I saw that one. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Just what, like, Joker. I didn't think anyone was going to be able to pull off Joker, but sure enough, someone found the costume and the outfit to get the Joker going. Amazing. So I still haven't seen anything with Jurassic Park, so I'm hoping that I can get mine in there, because I've got a few ideas for Jurassic Park that I want to get in there.
I like it.
But yeah, so sorry, Doug, thank you so much. The best Dread Pirate I know on the Sea of Thieves, the best commissioner and captain of Race of Legends and Cursed Legends. I cannot wait to hear more about what you're doing in the future. I wish you the best of luck, sir. Please, if you would be so kind, plug yourself as we get out of here.
Sure. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at DreadDoug. You can find Race of Legends at raceoflegends.com. You can follow the Race of Legends on Twitter at Race of Legends. You can also follow me on TikTok, by the way, Dread Pirate Doug over on TikTok. I've had a lot of fun posting some Race of Legends videos and montages and things over there. And twitch.tv/DreadPirateDoug is where we are live streaming. And then this season, we're also going to be live streaming on our YouTube channel and on Twitter as well. So hopefully it'll be even easier for people to watch. Season 7 kicks off Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, July 24th, depending on when you're listening to this.
Awesome. Thank you so
much.
Thanks
for having me. This was awesome.
Oh, man. My pleasure.
Great time.
Please. No, my pleasure. All my honor the whole way. Folks, if you have any comments, concerns, questions, feel free to hit me up at CAPT_LOGUN at CAPTLOGUN@gmail.com. I'm forgetting all my socials. They're in the show notes. Head over to the show notes. You'll be able to find the Discord. You'll be able to find links to Doug and all of his stuff. And I think, Pirates, with that, thank you. I love you. And I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.
Looking for a Fallout audio drama? It's True Vault Escapades! That's right, follow the death-defying adventures of Detective Walter Camry and his Vault Girl Bunny as they solve the Wasteland's biggest mysteries. From the dramatic Texas prologue to the high-stakes world of New Vegas, Walter and Bunny risk it all to crack everything from murders, slaver syndicates, and corruption at the highest level in post-nuclear America. True Vault Escapades. It's a Fallout show with a detective twist. Look for True Vault Escapades wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey Guardians, we are the Destiny Show Podcast, a weekly podcast about all things Destiny 2. We invite amazing guests from the Destiny community to share their stories and discuss the latest topics from the world of Destiny. Check us out on Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, or live on Twitch every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We will see you Starside.